Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Samantha Cummings, here with my co-host Matilda Swift, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our mastery through missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way, and this week's topic is going to be our Q2 review. I don't know why I did like that. Before we get into that, let's do our wins and whinges of the week. Would you like to start with a win or a whinge?
Okay, I genuinely cannot go into detail because I am just a living win right now. So for listeners who are not privy to our conversation before the podcast, we normally chat for about 20 minutes before the podcast, just have like a little bit of catch up. We message during the week quite a bit, so we just have like a hi, how's your week been? Today I have just talked, it sounds like an hour and 20 minutes straight about my just endless string of amazing things that are going on in my life, which sounds really boastful, but really all of them come out of this conversation we have every week. We were just saying how we've been doing this for about 2 quarters now, so about 6 months. It feels like my life is unrecognizable compared to where it was. Yeah, and in the last 2 weeks, I feel like I've lived 1,000 lives. I've been to the Self-Publishing Show live conference, I've done a writing retreat with a friend, and I've been on holiday for a week by myself to Corfu. And just, it feels like I have distilled everything I've been working on for the last 6 months. And it is all sort of crystallized in my head. Like, imagine me in a pool floating under the blue sky, like a blue Grecian sky, and I'm full of tropical fruit from the breakfast buffet, and I am thinking all the good thoughts, and just like my mind's crystallized everything. And I feel so much like I really want to remember this time when every moment along the way has felt like tough or small or unrecognized, and you don't notice how much you're changing until you have a big maybe step away from things. And I just have felt like all the stuff I've been thinking about over the last 6 months, all the things I've been doing, kind of everything in different aspects of my life has really come together this week just by having a step away. So I've just got wins, innumerable wins, that I'm just going to say, Sam, you can attest to that fact, and I will not go into detail because that is a whole podcast in its own, and I will maybe come to that.
Yeah. Yeah, you are a winning machine right now. I'm not going to say any whinges. I don't have any whinges. I similarly feel like, I was just saying before, that I don't even remember what kind of idiot I was in January, but I know that I'm so far away from that right now. I feel like I'm just a completely different person. And I feel like I'm on the cusp of loads of great things. And my win, I would say, of the week is that this weekend I was kind of pulling some things together. I've got a bunch of books that I'm sending out to book reviewers on Instagram. And I was making some very fun things that are going into the boxes. And I'm not going to say what those things are because they're going to be surprises for the people that get the books. But it was just, it's just so fun to be an indie author and to be in charge of the stuff that I'm actually sending to people. It's such a nice, close relationship rather than having a publishing house being like, oh, we're going to send a PR box to people. I get to do the PR boxes, and I didn't realize how much I loved that until I started doing it. And now it's I get to send people presents in the post, and I love giving people presents. So great week.
I think the opportunity of being an indie author is sometimes a thing that we forget. You get to be your own publishing house, which can be a pain when it's hard, but when it's going well, you just oh my goodness, my lead author is getting star treatment right now. They're getting all the book boxes, they're getting everything they could possibly want. And it's you are your own lead author, but it's great. yeah, I made that newspaper, that fake newspaper, for my book series, and it was so much fun to make. I specifically had chosen a thing that was within my wheelhouse, so I chose a bonus feature that I knew I would find easy, I could do well, and I sent it to various friends to, show them what I've been doing. Everybody that I showed it to, or that I even mentioned it to at the Sam Publishing Show Live, was really excited about it and wanted to see it and wanted to make their own ones. I had people ask me how did they make it, and I sent it to a friend in publishing last week. So I was talking about a short story I put in there, and she in fact works in publishing, has just started a new job in like a cozy mystery related company, and she was so impressed as well. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm nailing it. You're nailing what your book box is.
Yeah.
Just like, it's so nice to feel the benefit of self-publishing. Wins all round.
Yes. Yeah. Wins all around. Huzzah. God, as I was going to say in the next part, but in our little list of things to say, you get to introduce what we're doing.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, hopefully we have got more wins all round now, because we are on to our topic of the week. It is our second quarterly review. We're reviewing Q2. What goals did you set for the quarter, and how well did they go?
Well, let me just get my post-it from my post-it wall, which I have many post-its up there. I love to have, I'm such a visual person, so I have to have all of my goals like front and center. I can't work from a computer because I'll forget things exist, which is why I have millions of tabs open. So my visual tabs are post-its, and I wrote down all of my goals, and I have ticked off most of them for this quarter, which I'm very happy with. So I'll quickly go through the list and then say like whether I did it or not. So it won't take too long, but this is kind of like a good overview of just like the random stuff that us indie authors set ourselves. So my first goal for Q2 was to publish one of my novellas. And it's not a novella series that I'm continuing really, but I just wanted to get this one that I'd written out of the way and kind of start Q2 feeling like sweeping something out of the way so that I could continue doing the stuff that I wanted to do. So I wanted to publish my novella, and I did. So very happy to tick that off the list. And one of my other ones was to start the edits for, and hopefully finish the edits for the book that I'm publishing in September. I started the edits. I haven't finished them, but I am so close. I have like 40 pages left of edits. So I'm so close to the end. So I'm going to say that's kind of a tick, even though it's crept into Q3. One of the big ones that I had, which I didn't think I was going to do this, and I put it off for so long and only just scraped in at the end, is contacting book reviewers on Instagram. And I was so scared to do that because I thought, like, who's going to care about me DMing them saying, do you want a copy of my book? But as it turned out, quite a lot of people were really interested in having a copy of my book. So that's like a big tick. I wanted to release a short story, which was a prequel to my werewolf series. I released that. I signed up to BookFunnel. And yeah, and one of the things that I had on my list, which is kind of still ongoing, is rebranding. But this is that's a bigger topic that I think is going to take me a while to wrap my head around. But I do have plans for it, so I'm okay with saying that I kind of can tick that off my quarter two because I thought about it and I'm kicking it down the road on purpose. So I'm happy with that. But all of my stuff, I did.
This is going to take a big conversation, and I was like, okay, my conversation is bigger than that.
Yeah.
So I think, interestingly, you tick most things off. The only thing that you didn't tick off was one that was very formless. That was like a big, just like conceptually rebrand the entire company in ways that you haven't yet defined. It's very different to publish this short story. So how is that informing then your Q3 goals?
So my Q3 goals is way more leaning more into the brand that I'm setting up for myself, and that's all kind of on the back of this series that I've got going at the moment. So I've obviously got the book out at the moment, Curse of the Wild, which came out last year. It came out on the 4th of July 2023, so just turned 1. And the next book that's coming out in September is the second in the trilogy. Then the third book obviously is coming out next year. So this series is really my lead into my new brand, because previously I've just like jumped around, and this is my first full series of this genre that I'm writing in. So yeah, it's I feel happy, like, going into quarter 3. I have somebody that I'm like, I've got to contact. There's somebody I want to contact who is really great at author branding and pulling together like visuals for social media and doing websites and stuff, which I always wanted to do it myself, because I kind of do website stuff and like a little bit of branding stuff in my day job. So I always thought, like, oh, I can do that myself. Like, I know how to do that. But as it turns out, I don't want to do that for myself. And that's what I've come to realize, is that I don't want to be like, that's too much for my brain right now, because I'm so focused on trying to just like write and edit and release this series to really get my
the bit
foot
that only you can do
on the gas. Yeah, like that's like really where I should be spending my energy, and I don't want to be splitting my time between like the business and the branding stuff. I've just recently decided that it wasn't bringing me joy, so I think I should give it to somebody who it will bring joy to. And money. So going into Q3 and having a book release in Q3, I think it just will all kind of make sense for me to be talking to this brand person whilst I'm in the beast, effectively. That makes sense.
Are you
Like,
gonna
that's
add
in
more...
my mind, I just feel like
Yeah. Are you going to add more goals as you go through the quarter? Because it sounded like last quarter you had a lot of very like small concrete goals, and now the only one we didn't do was the amorphous one, and now it sounds like you've not really got as many short doable things.
I have a couple of shorter doable things. So I also really need to get on top of my email automations. So I think I put that on my Q1 goals, but I wasn't really in a place where like I just wasn't business minded in Q1, and now I feel like I really am thinking more like a business. Like I really do feel like a shift in my mindset. So all email automations are a huge, like, that's probably one of my biggest things in Q3, is just really nailing my emails. And I feel like that kind of ties in with my branding stuff as well, because I do want to rebrand my emails. So I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to come up with like a plan of like when I'm going to get some rebranding stuff and how I'm going to process that into my emails and social media and everything. So yeah, I think Q3 is effectively just business and branding at the moment. I don't know if that's a good idea. We'll see.
I mean, I don't know either. I think
I'm not sure.
we've got a conversation. We've got our monthly chats coming up in the next couple of weeks, where we do a whole day session, and I feel like we've kind of talked a few times about that being a big finance talk. So I think some stuff might come out of that as well. You know, definitely for me, there's things that I want to be looking at in terms of like the finance side of business that I want to look at in Q3, but that isn't on my Q3 list at the moment. And my Q3 list is very much an extension of my Q2 list in a way that's going to sound like I'm just carrying over the same goals, but actually I'm doing different things with them. So this is why I'm surprised by your Q2 list being so short. My Q2 list was unreasonable. So mine came out, and in fact, it wasn't a Q3 list. Like, I shouldn't have called it that. I should have called it like all the things I want to change my business list. I just put them in Q2 thinking I would somehow become a superhero in Q2, which I always think I'm the most delusional person on earth.
Yes, your list making. I like, this is why my post-it situation is good, because you can only fit so much on a post-it, which means that you have to make your tasks bite-sized, and you make lists in like tiny handwriting on pages and pages. And it's like,
yeah, in fact,
too much
this time. I had a roll of brown paper, like a very large, like parcel paper, a very long roll, and I just I have an extendable table. So I just extended my table and rolled the paper out. But we talked about this before, that like we're both quite visual, like hands-on thinkers. So I made a lot of lists and
Yeah.
and then connect things together and made mind maps and then distill it down. And I was looking at the whole business, and it was really, really helpful. I now have these unbelievably unwieldy large pieces of paper that I need to go back and kind of reorganize. But I've got pictures of the important sections that I look back at, and they're really, really helpful. But I think because I was in Q2, I put everything I need to do on my Q2 goals list, which was foolish and is delusional and is just the way that I am. So I'm no apologies here. I think that I possess all the time in the world, and I constantly plan for everything going right. I never allow for any a day of sickness, things being harder than I thought they were going to be. I just believe I will develop superpowers at any moment, and I'm going to be ready to take that on. I constantly believe that I'm going to inherit Bernard's watch, which we have referenced a number of times. People who are not like English millennials are just lost in this conversation. But Bernard's watch was just a watch where you could stop time, and he did all these things while time was stopped. And I think that has
A
destroyed
dream.
my life,
Yeah.
like my ability to prioritize, to make plans. Because when I was a kid, I watched the TV program where you could just stop time and do things, and I believe that's possible for myself. I just haven't found the right watch.
Hey,
So
I'm
yes,
still
my
trying to
Q2
rub
goals.
the Queen's nose every time.
Every 50p I get, I rub the Queen's nose just in case. Another very niche reference there. Such a good, yeah. I mean, that's a book as well, so it's like a literary reference there. We're very literary on the podcast.
Yeah.
So yes, so I made my Q2 list. That was really me lying to myself about what Q2 might contain. Even though it is the busiest part of my year for my day job, and the last couple of years have been in a community play, so even more delusional than you might think. I know I made myself like a lifetime's worth of goals list. I did it in my busiest quarter ever. Having said that, I did really well. So
Yay!
you know when you've done something really stupid and you don't want to look at it because you know it's so stupid, you're like, if I don't look at it, it isn't real. So
Yeah.
I spent quite a lot of this quarter not looking at this list because I knew I'd done the stupid thing and made myself an unattainable list. But actually, I have snuck a few looks at it, and just those sort of like it's seeped into my brain. I've done loads of things on it. I've done loads of things. However, I have not obviously completed. There were, I think, 10 things on it, which is ludicrous. 10 big things, such as like learn and do almonds and ants. That should be
Just
that's like a year goal.
so easy. Just
Yeah. They were of varying sizes. Some of them were doable. Like one of them was like constant BookBub applications, which I have done and has become a habit and is now very easy. And I have I'm signing on my phone every time I get a rejection, putting the application in. I have got a BookBub. Done. That's ticked off. That was on my Q2 goals list. Done. So there are things on here that were small, but some of them were really, really amorphous, such as one is generate backlist sales from newsletter, which is more an aspiration than an actual targeted goal. So I would say of the things on this list, so there's things through social media, my newsletter, Facebook ads, Amazon ads, BookBub ads, and then BookBub applications, and some of these break down into multiple parts.
right. So you want to become a marketing department?
Yeah. While maintaining a full-time job and busiest time of year and being in a play. Yeah. That's the level of my delusion. So I didn't do all of that. However, I did make a start in almost every single goal without really without really spending too much time thinking about this Q2 goal list, because I knew it was unrealistic. So I think just sort of setting the intention in my mind has allowed me to do something in all the areas and to sort of see where my attention's gone. So one of the things that I talked about was in the last couple of weeks while I've been away, a lot of things have come together in my mind. And one thing I'm always waiting for is that ideal perfect day where you're awake and you're full of ideas, and you can just really crystal clear look at everything. And I was like, on that day, I will go through my Q2 goals list and I'll really crystallize down. I'll make myself a plan of everything I'm going to do. Because what I needed to do was break down all my big ideas into small ideas. And I actually hate doing that because it requires so much brain power and so much like 3-dimensional chess, or 4-dimensional chess. Anyway, it requires just too many moving parts. So like I often think I'll wait till I'm feeling really with it. And on the last day of my holiday, when I had to come home, my flight was delayed and I did it instead. I was not feeling fantastic. I had written 2,000 words in the airport on the floor while waiting for a delayed flight. I just had so many. I didn't need the crystal clear magical day. I just needed to be in the right mindset. Like I just needed to be far enough along that I thought enough things and been like relaxing. So on this day, when I was sat on a very stuffy plane, just on the tarmac for a couple of hours, waiting for the plane to go, and no one seemed to know where the plane was going, including the captain, who at some point said, I don't know why we're not going anywhere. They keep telling me we're going to go, and then we don't go, and I'm going to call England and ask them why we're not going, but I can't tell you why. So in that situation, I just got out my planner, and I looked at my Q2 list, and I wrote down, I'm going to show you on the video, and hopefully, Sam, you can see how much nonsense that is. I can read it and it makes sense to me, but it is every Q2 goal broken down, and I put it into smaller sub goals. And there are some things on here that I could just put into a weekly calendar to do every single week. And one of my big goals is like one day on a weekend is to look ahead for the next week and break everything down and make myself a list. Because what I get stuck on every single time is the thinking energy and the decision energy. And we've talked about before, the starting energy for things. I just don't have that during the week, and I constantly berate myself and think, "Oh, I'll do better next week," and I'm just not going to, because I'm a tired person who does too many things, and work is hard. So if I can at the weekend just make myself a plan and say, "Okay, every Monday is Amazon ads. This week, what you're going to do is go back to this book, read the lessons, and implement the new ads." All I have to do is sit down on Monday evening and just do that. So I think having a bit of extra time away on my holiday really made me like able to sit back and stop judging myself and stop saying there's going to come a time where I magically was less quote unquote lazy or disorganized, and just be like, this is just the way that I am, this way I think. It is not lazy, disorganized, it is just not magically all powerful. So I need to work around that rather than trying to constantly work against it. And that felt really good and forgiving. So I've made myself pages and pages of notes in a really good way to break down all my big ideas into smaller ideas. And then so my Q3 goals are implement the next steps on that. And some of it I've just said actually it can't take place until this other one takes place. So I've pushed it back and it may not get done in Q3. So just implement next steps. I want to replan my schedule because I pushed the books. I've ordered a new planner, like a wall plan to put that on. That's been really good. I've broken that down as well. I'm going to make an actual launch plan rather than sort of thinking possibly I might do these things again. I've broken that down, and set long-term goals is also my Q3 list. So now I'm looking at it, it does look like too many things, but I'll get better to watch. I'll get better to watch this quarter is what I will do.
Yes.
It feels achievable right now.
I'm sure it does. I was like, so far I've only got 3 things on my Q3 goals. One of them is also to take a writing course that I've already paid for, and I just need to sit down and do it. But that's kind of like a fun thing in my mind. That's like a fun thing to do. I feel like, I haven't, to be fair, like I've been so busy the last week that I haven't even, every week on like Saturday and Sunday, I go through my planner and I like recap the week before, and then I make plans for the next week. And I haven't done that like this month, like for this first week this month. So I really need to get back into doing that. And just like, this is just for myself, I'm going to say this out loud. For the last few weeks, I've been a really naughty girl and not used my office. And I've been working in the living room. And that is naughty Sam behaviour. I have this beautiful keyboard, which is just like my pride and joy. And I sit in here and I type on it. And I haven't used it for weeks. So I'm like neglecting my beautiful purple keyboard. And that can no longer happen. So for Q3, I'm going to say this right here, my Q3 goal is to sit in this office every day and even for half an hour, do something.
I am going to join you in that, because you can see behind me is this beautiful writing desk, which I love, and it has beautiful pictures around it, and I set it up as a coast area. But I have been writing in bed in the mornings, which I do in winter because it's so cold in the UK. And I just never got out of the habit of it, and I just stay in bed, and I'm not as focused, and it feels unprofessional. And yeah, I feel better when I come to this desk. So I'm also going to become an office writer girly from tomorrow. I'll be at this desk.
Yeah, same. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be back in here. Because it's like my only, because I live in such a small flat. This is the only room that I have where I can come in here, and I'm on my own. And my dog doesn't even come in here. She's like not bothered because there's no food in here. So she leaves me alone. And yeah, as soon as I come in here, I am in working mode. I'm like a different person, and I put on whatever like writing video that I'm watching on YouTube. Usually it's like writing on a train, which is one of my favorite ones. Maybe I'll put the link in the show notes.
It wasn't the show notes
there's
recently,
a particular video that I love watching when I'm writing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's it's so good. Yeah, so I need to like put my little train video on and just work in here and be the good girl.
Like, would that be the professional writer? Like, you know, that is where you'll be if you were. We talked about this recently. If you're a millionaire author, we have both been reading Right to Riches, which is kind of thinking about yourself in your future state of when you are, you know, the full-time author, earning all the money that you want to. One of the activities in it that I did when I was on my holiday was it says like, live your millionaire author ideal day. And like, what would you do? Would you have a lie-in? Would you have a long soak in the tub? Would you get straight to work? And I was staying in a very lovely adult-only hotel in Corfu, where it was sunny every day, and there's a pool outside, and there's a like beautiful buffet of delicious Greek food for breakfast and dinner. So I practiced a couple of times finding my ideal like millionaire author day. And in that, I didn't write in bed. I set up my like laptop on a little table on the balcony, and I looked out over the ocean, and I had been swimming all morning and reading all morning, and then I typed, and then I went for more swims and went for more food, and I was done. I wrote 2,000 words a day very easily. But I still sat at a desk and was like, this is my professional job. I felt very Barbara Cartland, you know, just like incredible lap of luxury, but still writing very prolifically. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I liked that you used the word practiced, that you practiced like being an author, being a millionaire author, because I think sometimes we think we should just be like, just live the life that you want to live. But there is, you'll never know the actual life or like the time like schedule that you want to follow unless you practice different ones. Like you might be like, oh, maybe I want to get up early and write in the morning. You don't have to stick to it, but it's kind of a fun idea to think like I could practice that for a bit and see how it feels, rather than like announcing to the world that that's my process. Like I think practicing is like a nice way to. Yeah.
Because like I have for a long time. I used to start work at 10 a.m. In my job when I was living in Hong Kong, and so it was very easy then for me to get up and write for 2 hours before work, because like getting to Starbucks at 8 a.m. to write 2 hours is quite easy. And I can wake up early, I can work early, so I do that during the week, and that's when my brain is most awake. I find it harder to write in the evening. I find it takes longer in the evening. It's not as satisfying. So on a work day, I prefer to write in the morning. And on weekends, I keep beating myself up because I can't get up and I can't write early. I'm like, why am I not even getting started like 10, 11 in the morning? It's like, actually, when I was doing my my millionaire author day, I didn't even start till 2 p.m. and I still, with ease, got 2,000 words written. And like with, I mean, unbelievable ease, because I was so relaxed and I did bits of writing in between. I almost didn't notice. Like it was no different to another day that I'd been relaxing at the hotel. Um, and I swam all day. I swam and read, and I went back swimming and reading afterwards. And that to another day, like I could have spent all day beating myself about trying to write 2,000 words, starting first thing in the morning, feeling tired, feeling annoyed at myself, feeling lazy, and thinking like, oh, why are 500 words taking so long to get out? It could take me a couple of hours, then I go take a break, but feeling annoyed that I'm taking a break. Whereas actually finding a different routine that works better for you is, wonderful. And I think what I might start doing with my weekend days, I still, because I'm not a full-time author, I have a day job. I find I use my weekends to practice like having a professional writing day. So I still want to kind of dedicate those days to writing, but I think I'm going to use the mornings just to read. I'll go to the library and I'll just read. I might do some marketing things, but I might just read. And then in the afternoon, tap, 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 with ease, write some words. And in the evening, do something fun. Rather than like I have been making it a chore by trying to make the day as I think it should be. And it can take me literally all day, including like into the evening, including late at night to write 3,000 words. It's like, why am I'm making it feel unpleasant? Sort of because I think writing should feel like hard work, right? That's what proper writing is. But also because I'm trying to make it fit this mold of a day that I think it should be. So practicing a new sort of day was phenomenal. And that's how I'm going to try and do it from now on.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
that's
that.
my
I
Q3
like the
goals,
idea of
because I've not got
practicing.
enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm gonna maybe like try and schedule in different, because like Sundays tend to be my bigger working days. Saturday is my admin day. And then like just being outside as much as possible. But maybe on Sundays I should be trying. I'm gonna write this on my Q3 goals. Is like Sunday's practice day. So try writing at different times.
I think it
Sunday
really was lovely to think
practice.
about it as like practicing your millionaire author day, like ideal writing day, especially because I was in
Yeah.
a beautiful location. But like you could do that where you live, right? You could say, I'm going to start by having like a little pedicure in my own house. Like that's how I would like to start my day. If I were a millionaire, I would like to have a pedicure, and I would like to take the dogs to a new location for a walk every day. So I will try that this Sunday, and just I think of it not as like how can I make writing fit into my life as it is now, but thinking of it as what is my ideal life and how can I make that like not manifested, how can I make that manifest as in real on an everyday life?
Yeah. Yes. It's as much an important thing to do as the actual writing. It's like finding what feels good at the same time as.
Yeah, and I think
sorry.
Yeah, I'm not going to add to my Q3 goal list because it's already too long. And having said this out loud, I do see that now. So this has been a good session. It's not that I've got too many things on it. I think normally I would like to have goals that are completable within that quarter, but actually I'm fine with them not being completable. I think a lot of my goals, I don't necessarily want to make smart goals because I've got more things I could possibly do right now. I would like to just follow the goals that like feel best, that are working best, and to leave it somewhat flexible, rather than make myself follow like a really rigid path that isn't necessarily working. Because I've just started thinking recently about like, oh, maybe I should do some TikTok. I keep being drawn towards like different podcasts about that. I think in my Clifton strengths, I've got very high learner, and lots of things related to like learn. I've got only green strengths basically, and I think I would enjoy learning TikTok. Like I want to try and lean into that and make better use of my enjoyment of learner. So I think I might try doing that partially just because it would use that strength of learner, and would maybe I could use the times I'm too tired to write and do other things to be like, I'd love to just think about this and strategize about this. So I want to be open to kind of have those strategy things. We've been talking a bit recently about it. Feel like things have changed so much over the last 6 months that I I definitely feel like I am very close to leveling up. And I think at some point, very soon, I'm going to like put my foot to the pedal and give it all the gas and go. But before then, I really want to have dabbled in lots of different things. It's a bit like when people who are like married say like, oh, you know, take advantage of your single life when you can, because like when you're old and married, like you can't do all the fun things. And it's like I kind of feel
Yeah.
like right now I'm still in my like single girl era of self-publishing authorship, that I'm not relying on this for my living. I get to dabble a bit, and I want to take advantage of that rather than kicking myself for not being in a certain place. Yeah, so I want my goals to maybe be bigger than is necessarily sensible, just to give myself some wiggle room to like play around.
Yeah, I think that's a really good like thing to have set up for yourself, is the idea of it's okay to like to have a little bit of flirty fun with
Yeah.
different things before you're in actual business where you feel like deviating is like trying to turn a cruise ship around, rather than like just being in a canoe and being able to like just steer a different direction. Don't know why
Yeah.
boats came into that,
I
but
think why
there
it's
we
always
are.
got boaty ideas, yeah. But yeah, so currently like deviation feels like it's no risk, and I want to take advantage of that rather than necessarily tie myself into things too soon. So, or I'm delusional and I just have no way of making realistic goals, and that is what I'm telling myself. So either or, see. But I'm feeling good. I think my Q2 goals being too big went well for me. My Q3 goals being too big, hopefully also will go well. So yes, but also so good to do wrap up of goals and just to have goals and talk about them. It just feels like these discussions are changing everything.
Yeah, I mean, last year, the only goals that I ever had, like previous to this year, was just like write a book, edit a book, publish a book. That was it. That was literally as far as it went. So yeah, we are winning, and we are soon to be millionaire authors. I am sure of it.
We've already got my day planned, so I know how my millionaire author day goes.
Yeah.
You see what else I need?
It's got to now. Oh dear. Right. Well, last week we forgot that we were doing the Q2 review this week. So it was kind of a lie by mistake. We didn't mean to fib, but we did. So for next week's topic, we are actually returning to the series of real life versus writing, and the episode is going to be our day job skills that help with self-publishing. And I hope that you are all looking forward to that as much as we are.
We are now 2 weeks looking forward to that. We're very excited.
Yes, we're super excited, really prepared. Definitely have been thinking about this. No, I'm looking forward to kind of looking at. I think it's something that you take for granted in yourself, and I'm looking forward to doing a quick review of my own skills and feeling good about that. So
yeah, I think there's so much.
I have got skills.
I think take for granted is a good way to put it. Yeah. I think I've got a lot to talk about in this, and hopefully it will leave me kind of feeling better about like my day job, because I think it's very easy to think of it as like the thing that you're doing when you want to be writing, but actually it is a thing that you're doing when you are getting paid to learn useful skills. So great.
Yes. And
I do. Yeah. I given that today was my first day back in work following a holiday, I do feel resentful towards my job because this involves no swimming in Greece at all. But it does. It is such a useful job. It's taught me so many things that I would not have learned if I'd sat by myself in a room just writing. So yeah, I think it's good to reflect on this and to maybe find ways to lean into it and make more of it as well. So I think there'll be a useful conversation next week, and I'm looking forward to it. Yes. One thing that I wanted to end the podcast by saying was that now we are 2 quarters into the podcast. When I was at the Self-Publishing Show live, I met people who had listened to the podcast and who loved the podcast, which was so nice to hear. It was, amazing. It's sort of weird to think like what I think of as just our private conversation where we talk about ourselves being hilarious geniuses. Other people are listening to it. But, great. And if you are listening to this and you find it useful,
and realising the truth.
Yeah. Now we are 2 quarters through. As a celebration with us, it would be great if you just picked at least one person in your life that you think would benefit from listening to this and recommend this to a friend. More than one person would be great, but pick one person at least and just say, you would like this podcast, give it a listen, and suggest an episode for them. When I suggest episodes, I always pick, I think it's episode number 8, the butter episode, because I think it is the one that is most broadly useful and is funniest, probably. But pick the episode that you like and recommend it to a friend. That would be very helpful to us, and we would love it as a celebration for our second quarter of podcasting.
Yes, please do that, and like and subscribe and all of that jazz. And leave us a review if you're feeling generous. And until next time, have a good week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.